Haven't been on in 2 weeks. But with being said, happy to be back. Welcome to the Dead Red Podcast. I am Big Blue in the Bronx. As always, SoxArizona is alongside me, and it's been a couple of different events that have happened the last few weeks. Sox's socks are finally getting on fire, and obviously Sox is very happy about that. Shouts to Tony in the chat. What's going on, Tony? Um, Quickly, it might kick me out. I'm going to switch my Wi-Fi for a better network, so it might kick me. I'm going to come back in, of course. Shout out to the people in the chat. Tudo, what's going on? If I crap out, just it's going to be like 15 seconds at most. Sox, how are you doing? How are the Red Sox? How's Boston sports doing?
They're doing well, man. I'm like, it's in a weird time because we were really worried that the Sox were going to fall out of this race, but they've shown us that they want to stick in it. A massive 6-game winning streak, including 16-run game, as well as the Boston Celtics. Everybody's supporting them right now going into that. Hopefully, the NBA that finals against the Warriors. So we're doing good. I'm just trying to not get too high or too low on Boston sports right now.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, as the Red Sox, you guys have had 3 series wins in a row. Seattle was one. Who'd you go? Who else did you guys verse the past couple of days?
We had Seattle. They played Houston. We're playing on that division a lot, and then right now it's the White Sox. It doesn't look like they're going to win this series against the White Sox, but
Really?
6 straight wins. I mean, they put up a bunch of runs. We knew it was going to come. We just didn't know when, So it's super exciting.
Yeah, and for my team, I mean, we just won against the Rays, so that's like a good start against a team that's really trying to come up in the division. I don't know how this. I'm going to look at the standings, see how they look, but they're facing some adversity for the first time this season. And I've always been on the positive side about them. Obviously, there's the negative, and sometimes it could be little mistakes. Sometimes it could be the adversity they are facing. The Tampa Bay Rays with the victory for the New York Yankees are 5.5 games back, and of course, we have the rest of the series till Sunday with them. And also, we will be streaming tomorrow's Yankees-Rays game, so tune in for that on my channel, Big Blue in the Bronx. All are welcome, of course. In terms of adversity, DJ LeMahieu's injured. Giancarlo Stanton's on the IL. Aaron Hicks is hurt. I mean, he's a terrible ball player, but he's hurt. Jonathan Loaizaga, Aroldis Chapman. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think the next couple of days for the Yankees, just as an overall headliner, it's going to be a test because we have the Rays, then we have the Angels, and that's not. I don't care if it's away, home, whatever. I mean, we versed the Angels at home, but with that being said, it's gonna be a test. It's gonna be a test. Sox, your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, Yankees a little bit banged up, but it's impressive to see what they're doing, man. And for once, the Red Sox are like full power. Everybody's healthy. It's nice to finally see that, except for Chris Sale and Paxton coming back. It's really impressive to see what the Yankees are doing, man. With a little bit of getting banged up, 32-13. They've only lost 13 ball games on the year. That's crazy. Going into this season, we would have never thought. I
would have never thought.
No. I mean, I even told you I thought they were going to be better than they were, but I really didn't expect anything like this. I really didn't.
Yeah, a lot of offense today, especially in that 9th inning. Anthony Rizzo had a 2 RBI double. Judge had 2 RBIs on a sac fly, and also I think it was a RBI single. Offense is coming alive. And I do have some worries about this team in the long run for the rest of the season. We'll talk about that. I do want to bring up though, and I'm just gonna leave this as just the one topic. Besides, obviously, the shooting that we had a couple of days ago in Texas, prayers out to the families and stuff like that. Three famous people, and I'm not trying to shove that away, but 3 famous people died today. Notably, Ray Liotta of Goodfellas. I was shocked when I saw that. That was extremely sad. And then for anyone who listens to Depeche Mode, they're like an 80s band. Tony informed me of Andy Fletcher's death. And then if you're like an old classic rock fan, Alan White, the drummer of Yes, passed away. So very weird day to say the least. Prayers out to those families, of course. But what let me ask this, Sox. obviously you guys have been winning some really good ball games. Trevor Story's on fire.
Yo,
Explain.
get out the ticket for MVP. Are you kidding me? He hit another home run today, I think. And we're up.
MVP, you're going that far.
Are you kidding me? He had 14 RBIs in that Mariners series to go with 5 home runs. The dude is just nobody in baseball is hitting better than him. Obviously, he got the AL Player of the Week because he's literally on fire. The man they can't get him out. I mean, he's seeing everything. He's destroying fastballs. The guy is just like, this week has been phenomenal. I wish we could get this all season. I don't want him to burn it out, though. We need some of that later on. We need some of that in August, September. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, y'all are still fighting an uphill battle, and I understand that. But I would also punch in my own guy, Aaron Judge, for MVP. I mean, he's been
That
on
dude's
fire.
unreal, man. I mean, he's beyond expectations. I thought he was going to be one of the guys that was going to struggle this year. You know, the strikeouts and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
shout out to the Yankees, man, for real. That's awesome.
Tony says Trevor's Story is unreal. It's like he's in Colorado again. LOL. I mean, he's just been on a tear. I mean, you mentioned like I didn't even know he had 14 RBIs in that Mariners series, and I think one of the other nights he had a big night, but the Red Sox have been on fire. So the Yankees won tonight. Obviously, I mentioned that, and going back to the Orioles series, they won the last 2 games, and then before that, I'm gonna put this to bed because I don't want it hanging over my head. Judge missed an easy catch. Yeah, in center field, he did miss an easy catch. I mean, I don't think they I don't think they scored on that though. Like it's an error, but I don't think they scored on that, so it didn't hurt anybody. I'm gonna put this to bed right now. This is not for grabbing. This isn't ESPN or anything like that. Genuinely, because me and Sox have not talked vocally about this, and we haven't talked just in 2 weeks. Outsider thoughts on that Tim Anderson situation that occurred a few days ago.
Yeah, I mean, what an interesting situation, because you think that there's that background that they had, the history of him calling himself this day's Jackie Robinson, whatever it was, but then he comes out and says there wasn't any history. I don't know. I think there's a little bit of a line that was crossed there. Like, there's no reason to go there. I think that's awesome that his team was stepping up for him. Like, Tim Anderson wasn't even the one that went up to him and said that's not cool. It was the catcher. I don't know who was playing catcher. Was it Yasmani? Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome that these guys stick up for him, and it didn't turn into as much as it was like in the media afterwards. But I if he did say that he was this day's Jackie Robinson, I think that's fair game in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I implemented my thoughts over the last few days. Like when me and my brother went live for Twinville yesterday, I talked about it just a tad bit. Monday was like one of the main discussions about it because we actually had our co-host Donald, who's going to be on our stream with us tomorrow night. He actually disagrees with what me and Luke have to say. Because it's an open forum, so we don't kick anybody off that disagrees with us, of course, as long as we like you as a person. Donald's a very likable person. But what I had to say about it is basically, look, Tim Anderson called himself Jackie Robinson for he said he was trying to break the fun barrier, because I think 2019 it was a situation where he hit the home run and then the Royals hit him, and then all that, the fights and stuff like that. That's where the comment came out. And Donaldson previously joked with Anderson before, calling him Jackie, and they were fine then. But what happened is that I think last year, Donaldson approached Lucas Giolito in the parking lot, and it was something about spider tack. At least I think that was the story. And then Tim Anderson kind of changed opinions. And obviously, the one thing I will say that's like, you could, debate is for Josh Donaldson is like, should he have said anything? Because we know there was history, and we know that, like, for some people is it a distraction? It's not a distraction. That's something that could have been handled in the clubhouse or just overall anywhere. Like, try not to mumble and stumble my words here, but that's something that could have been handled in the clubhouse. I mean, he said it was racist, but the one that really said it was racist first was Tony La Russa, and Tony La Russa has been accused of racism. He has no clean record. And I don't believe it's up to him personally to say if anything's racist, because I don't think he's he's not of the same color, and he's been accused of shit like that before. I don't agree with the suspension. I think they were just trying to cave to the masses. Donaldson didn't mean that in the term of like, racism. If he said it and there was no context, I would say, okay, you're fucked up there. But the thing is with that situation, for two sides of things. The New York Yankees wanted edge and they got Donaldson, and obviously Donaldson apologized and all that stuff. That's a player with edge is going to talk shit, no matter it's this guy, that guy, whatever. If they got Correa, he would have talked shit. Maybe not as controversial, but he would have talked shit to a different player and maybe started something. And then you look at the other side. You don't want a bunch of wusses playing baseball and everyone just being like choir boys, like shutting their mouths. That's what I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there is a fine line. It feels like in this situation, because part of me says, you're going to let words hurt you that bad, and it's going to turn into a scuffle on the field. But then the other part of me, there's a certain respect you have to have, especially if you're going to say something that could possibly cross that line of the color barrier, whatever it is. I'm going to take the side of, I don't think we should let words probably hurt us, and it should turn into this thing on the field. Maybe talk about it afterwards, but I agree. I don't know if I agree with the suspension. They're probably just doing what people wanted them to do.
Yeah. Tony says Donaldson has always been a punk, and I will never defend him. He is a horrible person going back to his rookie year. And listen, look, Donaldson, I will say it right now, he's an asshole. That's the player he tries to be. No one ever said he was, a choir boy, the nicest guy in the world. But Carlos Correa is not the nicest guy in the world. I mean, everybody knows he was talking all after that Astros scandal. There's other Joe Kelly who was talking shit, talking about Aaron Hicks or something like that on a podcast or something.
I love a guy talking shit, man. Trust me, I love a guy talking shit. And maybe, there might be more racist stuff that's said on the field that we don't hear about, like I'm surprised that that's the one time that anyone ever said anything racist on the baseball field. Like, I doubt it, but we just heard about it this time, and I do agree. I think Donaldson is a punk and with all this stuff, but the Yankees wanted fire. Big Blue said it best, and they got that with Donaldson. He fits them well.
Yeah, I mean, I would know Tony, because Toronto, I mean, when the Yankees I think it was like 2016 or 2017, the Yankees, and of course we got these fucking bots again. Let's see, block user. There we go. He was in Peach Stream a couple hours ago. But anyway, he had problems in Minnesota and Toronto. Yeah, I mean, what was I going to say before this stupid fucking bot came in? There was a brawl in like 2017 where Severino hit somebody, and then Severino got ejected, and then he was one of the major ones talking shit. And obviously, going back to last year with the Garrett Cole thing, he's not known to be a nice guy. But I think the situation was just way overblown, and I don't necessarily like. I understand what Judge was trying to do, but at the same time, stick up for your own player, And listen, you could debate a lot of things and whatever, and what Judge was trying to do there. But the inside worry I have about this team, and I know I shouldn't worry about this team being a first place team, is that like not even just this situation, but like the Miles Straw situation. They didn't come out and defend their fans. Not trying to say defend the fans for throwing bottles and shit, but say, look, the Yankees fan, it was some fans, it was not all the fans. And I thought that, for example, Miles Straw was out of line when he said that. Like, that's something you could say. Like, nobody's going to rip on you for saying that. I mean, obviously the casuals will take it out of context, but, I just feel like this team needs to be a little more tougher. But obviously I'm happy with the product that's on the field.
I mean, here's my thing. Here's the final thoughts on this. Is like, if someone's going to talk some shit and it leads to a scuffle, so be it. Maybe that's what you want as the Yankees going on a run right here. Let's keep the guys hot in the locker room, But you're right. I don't think there's any point to If the Yankees weren't the Yankees, this wouldn't be getting this much attention. It's the same thing as the bottles on the field. Like it's way overblown just because it's the New York Yankees. So we won't hear about this next week.
Hopefully not, because who knows? Try to stretch it anyway. I'm going to talk about a little bit of the adversity just to go down the list and stuff like that. Sox, man, I think your bullpen issues from prior, I don't know if it's still affecting you, but it's contagious. The Yankees have bullpen issues now.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's easier when you're putting up a bunch of runs. Like I said, the Red Sox, I mean, Franchy Cordero hit a walk-off grand slam on Sunday's game against the Mariners. That was unbelievable to get that game into extra innings. Trevor Story with a big home run to wrap up that series against Seattle. And like our bullpen, we're still giving up a few runs a game, but when those sticks are swinging, it's a lot easier to place guys where you want them. So we win the Seattle series and then put up 16 runs against the White Sox. It was unbelievable. They had 16 runs by the end of the fifth inning. Everybody hitting homers. Trevor Story, Kike Hernandez, Rafael Devers, JD Martinez had a few hits down the line. It was like it was unbelievable. One of the best Red Sox games I've ever watched in my life. And a 16-3 victory in that one. Nick Pivetta just like turned things around this year. I think that's a big part of our success in the last week and a half or so. He's locating his fastball, blowing guys away somehow. I don't know what changed with Nick Pivetta. He might have been like not eating his Wheaties or something. He's definitely changed. And took the loss yesterday, up 7-3 today. It's been like, let's put some more runs on the board every single time we step out.
Yeah, Blue City, I forgot to go to your comment. Baseball players didn't like Bryce Harper, and Bryce Harper was a major jerk. He still is a jerk. I mean, he's still a hothead.
Yeah.
So that goes to obviously that argument. And Tony says they ought to do a celebrity boxing match, baseball style, Donaldson versus Anderson, and Machado versus Anderson. Rest in peace. Giordano Ventura would have probably been good in that.
Yeah.
He was amazing. He was a hothead. But once again, rest in peace, Giordano Ventura. For some reason, and you bring up a good point, and someone else was talking about this, happened to be my boss at NYY News TV, actually made a video about this, and he was talking about, the bullpen starting to struggle, because right now, I could name two reliable pitchers in the Yankees bullpen. And, coming into the season, we didn't think that was going to be a major issue. And it's going to be interesting to see how, they play this at the trade deadline, which is a topic we're eventually going to get into. But he said the main thing for the Yankees not to be concerned about their bullpen is just keep hitting. And one thing tonight, that happened. The Yankees scored 7 runs off the Tampa Bay Rays. Excuse me. They also, yesterday they helped out J.P. Sears, who's never started a major league game. I didn't get to see all of his start, but from what I heard, he pitched phenomenally. And they helped him out, so there's that, and there's not overusing their bullpen, which it seemed like this year I would say it's hurting them sooner, which is a good thing. That, like we were talking about earlier in the year, Sox, that some of our managers happen to overuse the bullpen and kind of have a boner for that bullpen. And it seems like whether they learned their lesson or not, it's hurting them sooner, which could be a realization point. Okay, let's, keep pitching the stars. Like Nestor Cortez was over 109 pitches and got taken out of the game. Would I want, him to stay in longer? Sure. But he was 109 and they took him out. And then Wandy ended up giving up 2 runs, unfortunately. So, a little unreliable there, but we scored 7. So we're not going to complain too much about that. Shouts to Nimmer. What's going on, Nimmer? Tony says, how about the Reds starting 3-22? And they put up a 20 spot today. Is that true?
Hey, I'm telling you, I mentioned it. I bet Joey Votto's posting on TikTok more. That's why.
20-5 against the Cubs. Holy crap.
Impressive.
And, his record's not good on the year, which is probably attributing the fact that the Reds are 14-30. But Hunter Green, I've heard he's got good stuff.
I heard
I got to
that too.
bust Pizzle's chops because his team is still worse than the Pirates. Shout out to Jeffrey. Sup, fellas? Smash the like button. Sup to Big Blue in the Bronx and Sox, Arizona.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
Some great MLB content, of course. And Jeff is a Mets fan. And I don't know if you saw the other night. Did you happen to catch that Mets-Giants game?
I did not. What happened?
Very interesting stuff. I want to get my chronologicals correct. But it was a game that a lot of people would say, oh, they juiced the balls. Put it to you this way. I didn't watch the game, to be honest with you, until the 9th inning. But San Francisco had a 6-2 lead. Then the Mets blew it open. And I got to do the correct math here, 7-2. Then they started leading 11-6. Then they went, actually, hold on. I got to do the math correct. So it's 2 plus 2, so that's 4, 7. So yeah, it was 11-7, excuse me. Or is that, I can't do math tonight. I don't know why. 11-8. Let's put it this way, 11-8. Then they scored 3 runs at the bottom of the 8th, so it was a shorter deficit. The Mets score 1. And then they scored 2 runs. The Giants, of course, bottom of the 9th, score 2 runs, and Edwin Diaz blows it. And I've seen a lot of – and listen, the Mets are and Jeffrey, if you feel up to it, of course, you can add on to it since you're a Mets fan. But it was crazy. You know, Edwin Diaz blew another game, and I've seen Mets fans' reactions that, like, they're not going to get far if this guy is the closer. And for some reason, his grandfather obviously played for your team back in the 70s, but it seems like Mike Yastrzemski is like one of my favorite players that that's not on the Yankees. He was the one, I believe, with the walk-off hit. Or was Darren Ruff. Actually, hold on. I'm trying to holy shit balls. Jock Peterson, who actually was the guy with the walk-off hit, and he had 8 RBIs that night.
Damn.
He had 3 home runs, 8 RBIs in the walk-off hit.
8 RBIs. We talk about Story having 14 in one series. How about 8 in one night? Swing it. I like that.
Yeah, and Jock is tied for 6th in I don't know if it's National League or MLB wide in home runs. He's got 11 on the year. The Giants are 23-19. I believe they're 2nd or 3rd in their division. They are 3rd. You want to know what's crazy? And I'll get to some of the comments in a second. Shout outs to NYG22 as well. Torey Luvolo, a couple of weeks ago, became the most winningest Diamondbacks manager.
Yeah, I saw that. Even, I mean, and they haven't been around forever, like some teams have. You got Bob Brenly as their manager in 2001.
Bob Melvin too.
Bob Melvin. So, and I don't know how many. Showalter, and there's not many after that. We're starting to get into present day after Showalter. I forgot who was after.
Kirk Gibson.
Was it Kirk Gibson right after Buck Showalter?
Kirk Gibson. I think Matt Williams there was Chip Hale. There was Matt Williams, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, we're at a handful of guys, but shout out to Torey Lovullo, man. I've actually got to talk with him a couple times at Suns games. Met really? Torey Lovullo. Yeah, he was on the stage at a Suns game, doing a little pregame, hyping up the Diamondbacks for a season that they probably won like fucking 30 games for. But yeah, I was like, hey, what's up, Torey? Good game tonight. It was after a day game.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was a good time.
And I want to ask the chat this. In Sox, you may actually know the answer. You may not. This is off good authority from my good friend Gary Sheffield Jr. Tony Clark says, I would have thought Showalter. I would have thought Showalter or Bob Melvin or even Bob Brenly, who won a World Series.
Lovullo's been there for a few years now.
Yeah. Who in all of sports, who has the most expensive concession stand?
Oh, shit. I would either guess that it's somewhere in New York or in California.
Jeff, I'm also open for the chat as well, because I know some of you might not be baseball fans, and I'm not saying this baseball could be any sport. Gotta guess the most, and the answer is going to blow you away. Jeffrey says Mets or Yankees. I'm going to wait another minute. The question is, and Tony said San Fran. Okay, some good guesses. I'm not going to lie to you. The question remains: who has the most expensive concession stand in all of sports? I'm going to give it one more minute, and then I'm going to reveal the answer.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Fenway Park.
Okay. So Tony says San Fran. Jeffrey says Mets or Yankees. $18 for a beer in San Fran. That's expensive. Not gonna lie to you.
That better be
I
a
wonder.
tall boy.
I've never. I mean, I'm not 21, so I can't legally purchase one. But I wonder how much a beer is at Yankee Stadium. And what G22 says the Boston Red Sox. All right. Really want to know the answer?
Drum roll, please.
The Phoenix Suns.
No way.
Yep.
No way. I bought so much shit there. Where did you see that?
On good authority from Gary Sheffield Jr.
What the hell, man? I bought so much shit.
Phoenix Suns have the most expensive concession stand in all of sports.
Fuck, man. I'm so pissed about that. You should have told me. Wow, man. I mean, you got a lot of sports teams. You got the Dallas Cowboys, you got the New York Yankees, you got the New York Giants, you got the Dodgers. I mean, come on. Just because the Suns get good for 2 years? Come on, man. That's fucked up.
And here is something else that comes off good authority from Gary Sheffield. There is a Checkers right outside the stadium or inside the stadium that's like separate from the concession stand stuff. Everybody goes there.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Everybody goes to the Checkers. So, as I said, I was really wowed when I found that out. I'm like, the Phoenix Suns really have the most expensive concession stand in all of sports.
Now that I think about it, it makes a little bit of sense because they have that. I mean, I don't even know how many stadiums have it, but they have that cool FanDuel Sportsbook whole thing where you can go in, sit on a lounge, watch a bunch of big TVs, bet on games right there. It's like in the stadium. It's really cool. And then they just got a whole new renovation too. They got a brand new like escalators, everything. They're now the Footprint Center instead of US Airways or instead of Talking Stick. So it's it makes sense now. I mean, downtown Phoenix is it's like the 5th biggest city in America. So it makes sense now that I think about it a little bit.
Tony Clark says, "I wonder who has the cheapest." I gotta do research on that.
It's gotta be like I'll get the bots out of here while you look at that.
Fucking bots. I mean, you block them how many times and they still come back. But what was I gonna say? Probably the Royals. Yeah. Blue City Sox is a Giants fan.
Yeah, I've been a Giants fan since way before I was and people that watch the podcast know this, but yeah, I'm a big Giants fan, man.
Yep, maybe you'll see me and him collabing on some Giants content. I was looking, and I don't know why it's been the past 2 days because probably because I've been watching like videos and shit. I'm for some reason I'm just in the football mood. Like I'm excited to go to training camp this year, because it's surprisingly simple to get there. All I gotta do is take a train into the city, then I gotta take a bus from there, and it goes right to MetLife Stadium.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Jeffrey, I fell in love with Eli the second I watched my first Monday. I think it was Eli and Peyton. It was Giants Colts. It was I think around 2005, 4.
I remember watching highlights from that game. They got a bullshit offensive pass interference penalty.
I was a young kid then, man, and I just loved Eli from then. I'm such an honest, loyal person that I never left their side, even through all this shit for the last 10 years.
Okay, so here, best stadiums with the cheapest food. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at a list right now. SunTrust Park is one.
Okay.
So there's that. Spectrum Center, which I forget which one that is. I'm gonna look at that. If anyone could answer that, maybe you have the answer. Spectrum Center is that is for, I want to say that's for the Charlotte Hornets. Yeah, the Charlotte Hornets. Kauffman Stadium. So whoever said Royals was a little bit correct there. State Farm Stadium, which I believe isn't that in Arizona?
That is Arizona. That's in Glendale. That's where the
The
Cardinals play.
Cardinals, right? What was I going to say? Rogers Center. Apparently, that's very cheap. Angel Stadium, PNC Park. I mean, PNC Park, like they suck. So what do they have to, And then also Ford Field in Detroit.
No, it makes sense. Man, they cannot put butts in seats in those stadiums. It's crazy how many empty seats there are.
I gotta find my way to a cheap stadium. I don't know why. I just have that ambition. Like I know a few days ago, my boss from MRY News TV, he actually lives in Virginia, so he went to Baltimore, and got seats behind home plate. And then I gotta find my way out to a cheap stadium somehow, some way. Fun fact: New York City pizza is way better than Philly's cheesesteak. I mean, I haven't had like an actual Philly. Well, it is, but it is. I had a cheesesteak, but it was in Jersey, just north of Philly. Like, I don't consider that a Philly cheesesteak. And you know what? I bust my friend's chops on this. He went to Philly. He ordered a Philly cheesesteak with no cheese.
Oh shit! That's like that's probably a big no-no in some places, I would assume.
I'm like, what are you doing? That's not even like, I don't even respect Philly, but that's not the tradition.
No, I don't know how I feel about a cheesesteak. Now, don't get me wrong, I've never been to New York or Philly, but I will take New York pizza over what was the comment? I will take New York pizza way over Philly cheesesteak, no question about it.
Fun fact: the Warriors are 24 minutes away from heading to the NBA. Yeah, they were up 3-0 in the series, at least when I checked.
The Celtics are going to beat them. We're going to take it, man.
The Warriors are the team to beat. I mean, you think you're going to take them?
I think there's too many playmakers, man, on the Celtics. I really do. If Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are out there flying around, you got Peyton Pritchard out there dominating people, saying this is why I'm here. I mean, that's a rookie out there. What's up, Bruin? How are you doing? Good to see you here.
Shouts to Bruin.
Yeah, I don't know. Steph scares me. Clay scares me. But yeah, I mean, I really do think if we go, we're going all the way.
Jeffrey says Kauffman Stadium isn't that bad. I take New York or New Jersey pizza any day over Philly. Yeah, as much as I dislike the Celtics, they are a really good team. Does anyone actually? I mean, I know Nimmer was here. I know Blue City's here. I know Jeffrey's here. Y'all live in the New York City, New Jersey area. Are you guys going to training camp or anything like that? I mean, that'd be interesting to find out because I don't know if they're going to do another fan fest this year. It was a success, at least in my opinion, last year. But they are opening up training camp, so who knows?
That looked fun. That fan fest looked fun. It ended up being one of the most embarrassing fucking seasons in history, but it looked like a good start.
Yeah. Yeah, and we didn't win a preseason game. We couldn't even do that. Yep, I will get to that. I will get to that stuff in just a little bit because there's a couple interesting records to point out there. Tony sent me a thing full of NFL record predictions from someone I forget. I live about an hour from East Rutherford. It's almost in my backyard. Shouts to Jets. Mess. I live in South Jersey. So pretty interesting locations. But back to a little bit on the baseball side, of course. Keep those questions coming in. Obviously, we've expanded to a little bit of basketball, a little football. So we welcome the questions in the comments, of course. Keep it flowing. In terms of like different pitchers I would trust in the Yankees bullpen. Right now, I would trust like two guys out of
Who
10.
are they? I heard you say earlier.
Clay Holmes, who's basically the closer at this point, and I wouldn't say Michael and Clark Schmidt, the two C's. For some reason, I can't trust Marinaccio because he's a guy that it was like 10-0 against the Orioles, and he gave up 2 runs. Actually, no, that was the Guardians. But when it was like 10-2 against the Orioles, he gave up like 2 runs. Like if you can't beat the good team, and it's weird enough though because he actually had a good outing in that second game against the Red Sox. If you remember that, his stuff was just getting his stuff was getting filthy. But I don't trust him. They just called up Manny Benuelos, who was a former prospect a few years ago. I saw him in Scranton this past couple of weeks ago, actually, now, believe it or not. But I don't trust him to the fullest extent. Miguel Castro is on and off. His stuff is really good when he's good. His stuff, and then sometimes he'll have a really bad outing. Michael King has been very shaky of late. With the other day when we were doing game season for NYY News TV, it was 2 on. They took out Jordan Montgomery after a solo home run. I'm like, Boone, what are you doing? And then King comes in the game. He allows 2 hits and then a 3-run home run by Rougned Odor. And we were cursing up a storm. We just weren't happy. King hasn't been himself. Lucas Lidge, I don't fully trust. David McKay, I mean, he just got called up again, probably on that taxi squad. And Wandy Peralta gave up 2 runs tonight. But, it's just I'm not too trusty with them. Got a question: are the Yankees actually going to pony up the money to sign Judge, or for the Sox, will they keep Bogarts or trade him? I'll let you start first.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to fucking pay that man. In fact, I think some Red Sox fans have started a GoFundMe to pay Devers and Bogarts because apparently they're broke and don't want to do it. So I don't know. I don't know why they're holding off. I think they're trying to maybe have some trade leverage, but I'm on the boat of let's pay these guys, man. They keep showing us. They keep hitting the ball out of the yard. What's the issue?
Yeah, I mean, for Judge, his arbitration case is actually being heard soon. Shouts to Cookus.
What's up,
what was I going to say? His arbitration case is actually going to be heard in June, and just sign him before then. I mean, don't give him the option. Don't let himself give himself the option of, okay, I could go to San Francisco. I could test out free agency. Don't do that. He's having kind of like an MVP season. He does have his bad days. Everybody's subject to it. It would be up to him, and maybe just to tickle socks a little bit. Story maybe. I don't know how many other MVP candidates are in the American League, but Shahai is obviously going to be up there again. He's probably going to win it. I mean, they should just have a Shahai Ohtani award yearly. The Shahai Ohtani award goes to Shahai Ohtani, and then have the MVP award go to him.
No, yeah, for real.
Blue City says, you better let Kike Hernandez go to the Yankees. We need him. I wonder how much longer he has as a Sox. How has he been doing?
I'm going to look up his contract. I'm telling you, these boys turned it around. And I forgot to mention, I don't know how superstitious you are or whatever, but Alex Cora shaved his beard. He was growing the salt and pepper. As soon as that thing came off, these boys started swinging the ball, hitting the thing out of the yard. And it's continued today. They got 7 runs. So I think that's probably a big part of it. But no, I don't think Kike is going anywhere. I'm looking up his contract right now. But Devers and Bogarts, I'd be a little bit scared of. You mentioned Benintendi. I would hate Benintendi to go to the Yankees. That seems like something they would try to do.
Yeah, what's also superstitious is the fact that Brian Dable has been in every single New York Rangers home game, and they've won. I think he's 4-5-0. And they lost tonight, unfortunately, because they were in Carolina. What's so stupid though? And I'm not even like the biggest hockey fan. Anyone outside of North Carolina cannot buy tickets to the game.
Why?
Because they don't want Rangers fans filling up the arena.
That pisses me off, and I'm not even the biggest hockey fan either. What is that? I've never heard of anything like that.
Didn't the Rams try doing something like that this past year?
Dude, I've never heard anything like that. That is ridiculous. I would be so pissed off if I was trying to travel to see my team and couldn't buy tickets.
Because they're mad. Because they're fucking mad. I mean, they
Yeah,
lead the
because they would
series
get
now.
sold out. It'd all be fucking blue. That's why.
It pisses me off. Who is manager of the year so far? I'm just gonna be a casual and look at some of the best teams. I mean, I hate on the guy, not gonna lie, and sometimes the last few days I've been pissed with him, but Aaron Boone has to be up there.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be, unfortunately.
Let's see. Maybe Rocco. I mean, they're 10 games above 500, but Rocco Baldelli, maybe Dusty Baker. I mean, I know he's won. I'm just looking at records right now, so I don't have the biggest. Buck Showalter, that's another good one from Jets Mess. Him as well. That's who I can think of. I mean, maybe Dave Roberts, but yeah, Showalter definitely is one. Aaron Boone's another. We'll see if the Red Sox turn it around. Rocco Baldelli, as Tony mentioned, that Rangers game was some BS. I watch hockey randomly, and they happen to play like shit tonight. Yeah, because their fans are. Well, I mean, I'm gonna act like casual because that's what I am, and I'm open to admitting to it.
Me too.
But the fact that you don't have fucking your fans outside of North Carolina, I mean, that's some small town bullshit right there, and fuck them for sure. I think the Hurricanes are trying to play out of their mind, trying to play mind games with the Rangers. I mean, it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. I think I got to go back to a couple of comments. Nimmer said he's trying to go to training camp. Definitely let me know. I mean, I'm going to try to make it to training camp as much as possible this year. Jeff says that would be like, in terms of letting go a Judge, that'd be like letting go Pete Alonso or Jeff McNeil.
I'll say my pick for manager of the year is Charlie Montoyo. After thinking about it for a while, I'm going to go out on a limb. Charlie Montoyo's, if they continue to win, will win manager of the year, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. Put it on the books, mark it.
23-20. I mean, that's
if they continue to go, I mean, if they take the East somehow or something like that, I mean, they're going to get recognition and he'll win it.
See, I just don't think so, because here's why. And, obviously there's certain players, there's certain teams where you already know they're going to be good and whatever. With the talent they have on the roster, I'm just not like, why are you 23-20? You should be second, maybe even first.
That's probably fair. I'm assuming their pitching hasn't stood up to what it's supposed to be. That's why.
And it's probably been a little bit of injuries too.
But I mean, hey, they got a lot of recognition last year for winning 91 games and still coming fourth in the division. I mean, that is ridiculous. And trust me, out of all the AL East teams, I kind of like Toronto the most. I like what they've done. They got a lot of talent. I like the ball players' sons on the team. That's awesome. But I like Montoyo. I might just be saying that because I like him, to be honest with you. But if they take that division, he'll be in the conversation at least, for sure.
Yeah, Jeffrey says maybe try to use Martinez as trade bait. I think he's talking about JD. How has he been?
He's been good. He struggled a little bit to start, but the last week and a half or so, the fact that he's okay to hit the ball the other way it seems like every other hit is the other way. Martinez hasn't been hitting for power a lot lately this season, but just like everybody else lately, he's swinging a hot bat. I don't see them getting rid of him. If anything, the trade bait will be Devers. It'll probably be Bogarts because of how well Story is playing. The only thing that I hate about how much Trevor Story is hitting the baseball is that they try to see. It seems like they're trying to push Bogarts out a little bit, but we'll see how that turns out.
And before we possibly get a Beantown breakdown appearance, Jackie Bradley Jr. How has he been?
Oh, I mean, Jackie's been one of the best players on the team overall this season. I don't know, people don't want to say it because of all the big names on the roster. I'll pull up his stats right now, but the amount, I've said it all year, the amount of stuff he brings in right field. He's missed one bad ball this year where I think the ball got under his legs. It might have been in Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he's got like the most doubles on the team. I think he has a triple on the season. And he had a big clutch hit the other night as well. I think 3 hits in the 16-run game. I don't know why Beantown doesn't like him. I mean, come on. Why would you hate Jackie Bradley? Tell me why. Because he hit 218 one season? Come on.
Blue City asks, I have a question. Who is the most hated team in sports? The Yankees, Cowboys, Patriots, Lakers. I think it's the Yankees.
I think it's the Cowboys by far. Everybody in the whole country hates the Cowboys. Everybody knows that.
Tony says he sucks, meaning Jackie Bradley Jr.
Yeah, he does not.
Well,
you wouldn't tell
Jeffrey
him. You wouldn't say that to his face, Tony.
It was smart for the Red Sox to bring Bradley Jr. back as a great defensive player. It was funny enough. Oh, the different answer, the Raiders.
I don't think they're hated anymore because Vegas isn't as like scummy as Oakland was. You know, they're like I feel like they went up a little bit.
Yeah, Lakers are pretty disliked. That's true, definitely. NYG22 says the Cowboys, so he does agree with you. You know what's weird? I used to have a friend who was on my little league team for a year, and then I ended up going 1 year in high school with him. He is literally, you look at his teams, and he knows baseball, football, basketball, but they're all bandwagon teams. You want to guess those teams?
Let's guess. He's a Cowboys fan. He's a Duke Blue Devils fan.
How about all right? I'll line it up like this, and then I'll ask the chat as well. Basketball, actually, baseball, football, basketball. All right,
okay.
this guy that I know, baseball, basketball, football, and he's a bandwagon for these three teams, and there's a reason why I say bandwagon. Of course, they are bandwagon teams based on something. But if you want to list in the chat a bandwagon baseball team, football team, and basketball team, and see if you can try to guess this guy's teams correct. I'll start with Sox as we get some chats pouring in.
Okay, so I'm gonna guess, Patriots. Actually, no, let's guess the Cowboys, the Yankees, and the Lakers.
Okay. So Jeffrey did say the same thing, or Warriors. Tony said Bulls, Yankees, and Patriots.
Ooh.
That has spice to it. NYG22 says the Cowboys get the most hype. Not a lot of people want. Yeah, I mean the sport is dying a little bit. I have to admit myself. As a Texans fan, I hate the Patriots more than anyone. Yeah, Cowboys, Yankees, Lakers, Duke, Alabama. That's I like that. I very what was I going to say? I guess Nimmer's a Knicks fan. He says that he's very upset that the Knicks didn't fire Tom Thibodeau. I mean, my brother would probably agree with you. And in the coming weeks, we're planning on having like a bunch of Knicks content creators on because there's a side of the fan base that hates the front office and there's a side of the fan base that hates Tom Thibodeau. So, Bruin says Yankees, Cowboys, and Warriors. All right, you want to know the answer? The answer is y'all got it correct with the baseball team. It's definitely the Yankees. Football team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. And the basketball team, the Boston Celtics.
Okay, why?
Because they have the most championships in their sport, respectively.
Oh, no. Not one of those. Come on, man. Like, that's what I got pissed about when I was growing up and people are like, oh, you're such a bandwagon, a Giants fan and a Red Sox fan. Well, you're such a bandwagon fan. No, I'm not. If I was, I would be Big Blue in the Bronx's friend. And that's not me.
A lot of people. Bruin says, bruh. Jeff says Knicks fans should be upset. The team has been awful for over 20 years. Steelers, really, I can see the Celtics. Yeah, I mean, I thought it took me a day to think about it. I'm like, oh my God, he roots for, and I called my one friend, who used to do Boys in the Big Apple with us, a bandwagon. Like my friends would call him a bandwagon because he's a Yankee Steelers fan, but he's also a Knicks fan in basketball. But his roots lie with Pittsburgh a little bit because his dad's a Steelers fan and he's also got family in Pittsburgh. But
here's something else, though. I think bandwagon probably means something different to you in New York as it does to me growing up in Arizona. Like You like anybody except the Diamondbacks and the Suns, you're a bandwagon fan. That's how it is in Arizona, But to you, there's a lot of talent out there on the East Coast, So it's Pittsburgh, it's New York, there's a lot of good teams.
Jeff says, how many championships has the city of Boston won in the last 20 years? So I'll name. Okay, I'll start naming World Series. We can start naming Worlds because I don't know the Celtics' history in the last 20 years. And the Bruins also as well. So you got 2018 for the Sox. You have
okay, but it's 20 years of 2000 back to 02. Okay, back to 02.
Okay. Celtics have 1, Pats have 7. A little bit more than 20 because I think the Patriots first won in like 2000 or 2001, so that's a little over 20 years. What was I going to say? Red Sox have 4, so that's 04, 07, 13, 18. So that's 4. Bruins, he says the Bruins have 2. The Pats have 7, but if you count, I think they won their first in 2000 or 2001, so they would really be 6, I think, in the last 20. Bruins won a Stanley Cup in 2011. I hate the Celtics because they pulled off a heist of the century against the Nets with that Garnett, Pierce, and Terry trade. We
won
Brown
that
and
trade.
Tatum,
Yes,
shaking my head.
Yes, sir.
Real bandwagon fans change teams every other season. It's funny. I have another friend who, when I started hanging out with him a little more when I was in Pennsylvania, he was a Giants Warriors fan.
Okay. There's a lot of Warriors bandwagon fans, man.
Then, like 2019, he decided to change his teams. 49ers and Lakers. And then
where'd the Niners come from? They haven't really been anything in most of my life.
That one big year, 2019.
Okay.
And then back to a Warriors fan this year.
Really? Okay, well, the Celtics are bound to win the championship now. Okay, so the city of Boston has 12 championships since 2001. And here's a look at them. Number 1, the Patriots won the 2001 Super Bowl. Okay, so since 02, so that's 11 championships. 04, Vinatieri. Red Sox won the World Series in 04 as well. That's a great year to be a fan of Boston sports. I bet that city's going nuts. The Patriots won the next year as well in 05. Red Sox won in 07. Celtics won in 08. Bruins won in 11. Red Sox win in 13. Patriots win in 14. Patriots win in 16. Red Sox win in 18. Patriots win in 18. That is a lot of beer and parading around the streets of Boston.
Now the New York City has had like significantly less. Giants
recently, yeah.
Giants win in 07. Giants win in 11. The Yankees in 2009. They didn't have anything before that, obviously, when you're counting 20 years. I want to say the Rangers won in 2000 something, like within that span. I feel like they won one. Maybe not. Someone will need to correct me on that. Jets haven't won shit. The Mets haven't won shit. The Nets haven't won shit. The Knicks haven't won shit. I mean, we might have to start counting soccer teams to even catch up with the city of Boston. No, the Rangers haven't. God. So it's been what? 3 compared to the
title
12.
town, baby.
The last Rangers title was in 1994. Holy shit! And then like the Knicks last championships were 1973.
Dude, that's tough. Knicks and Nets have been bad for a long time. People thought it was their year this year. It's a joke. People try to build these super teams and it never works. I mean, rarely works, I will say. You bring LeBron James and Dwayne Wade together. Yeah, you're bound to win a couple chips, but it's the money hungry, ball hungry stuff. They got beat up by Jason Tatum. Kevin Durant was shut down. You don't even know who that is anymore.
Yeah, now they're talking about those two leaving potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. The NBA is a merry-go-round mess.
Yeah. Damn, those. Okay, so Tony says I'm accused of being a bandwagon because I'm a Texans, Orioles, Avalanche, and Wizards fan. I mean, there are those technically are like a lot of teams from a lot of different cities, but I'm not saying you're a bandwagon. At least if you know. And here's this. Because I actually had a disagreement with somebody in freshman year, and I want to know what the chat and you say about this, Sox. Um, if you like a team, you're not a like. I'm gonna put this better. If you know a lot about the team and you follow the team, I consider you a fan. If
100%.
you don't follow the team, but you're like, yeah, go this team, you're not a fan.
Simple as that. Like if you know more about one team, then you're probably a fan of that team. You know, like I know more about the Sox and their road trips and their struggles and injuries. I don't know other teams stuff like that. Like there's people that know the whole league. Like that's
Yeah,
crazy. But you know when the person's a real team of a fan, a real fan of a team. Excuse me.
that was a gaff right there.
Oh yeah.
Um, but and then also there's like that fine line. There's like that silver lining where you could say you're a casual fan. I've started watching Range. I'm gonna admit it. Like some days I'll watch Yankees, and obviously I couldn't catch the Rangers game tonight. But I've been watching more hockey ever since I went to the hockey game in March. Like it's been exciting for me. Like I don't know shit in terms of hockey terminology. Like I know passing, obviously, power play, all that shit, but I'm not like Ruru hockey
Do you
fan.
know the like the icing call, the
I
offside?
know I know the icing call, yes.
What
Um
did we already talk about Blue City Empire Sports? Did we already talk about his comment of his favorite teams?
my NFL team is the Giants, NBA 76ers, NHL team New Jersey Devils, and New York Yankees is my MLB team. MLS is the New York Red Bulls. So I could actually see that because, like, I don't know if I don't know if you said you live in Jersey or whatever, but like Jersey people can get like an influence of New York and Philly at the same time. Because
Uh,
I mean, there's a stereotype me and my friend have come up with where if you live in North Jersey, you're more of a New Yorker. If you live in South Jersey, you're more of a Philadelphian, depending on where you are.
uh,
And in the middle, you mesh. But um,
yeah, I was wondering because the New York Philly rivalry is kind of there a little bit, you know. And I, not being from there, I don't really understand the relativity, but I understand that now that you're saying it's so close. Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah, I mean, my friend knows somebody who used to work with who was a Yankees Eagles fan. I'm like, what? And then also he knew somebody who was a Blue Jays Colts fan.
Interesting.
Um, let's see. Otherwise, we really sucked for years. Yankees won in '09, Giants won in '07, 11. Yeah, it's weird to me that the Giants have the most championships on all of the sports, major sports in New York, but they've sucked the last couple of years. Um, don't get me started with the Nets. They drove me up a wall how they played. Um, Moon says no kidding socks. Uh, damn, where the hell? Okay, it would be typical of the Nets to see them go without winning a damn thing. I remember that '94 season, Knicks and Rangers both made the finals, but the Knicks choked. Um, that's what I remember about 2000 with the Nets and Devils. Hockey teams get it done. The NBA teams haven't. Who will be the last team ever to win a World Series? I think it will be Seattle. I don't see them ever winning. Okay, now we got to think about teams who haven't won a World Series.
Seattle.
Seattle's won.
Thanks, Tony.
Um,
I gotta use the restroom. I'll be right back.
yep. I think the Tiger. I don't know if I think the Tigers have won a World Series. Um, damn, this is an interesting one. So the Rockies have never won a World Series, or they haven't. They've made it to one. That was against Boston in '07. So you got them. That's one. I don't think the Padres have ever won a World Series. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm gonna look it up. Teams without a World Series. Seattle Mariners have never appeared in a World Series. They're the teams that have not ever won one. the Padres, the Rockies, the Rangers, the Rays, and the Brewers. So long list of teams there. 2000 was a great sports year. Devils and Yanks won, Giants in the Super Bowl, Nets in the NBA Finals, Mets in the World Series. Yeah, and the Giants got their ass kicked. What was it? 34-7 was the final score of that. Hey Alex, what's a hat trick? Three strikeouts, at least if that's what you're referring to. Here's a question: what New York team will win the next championship? Leave out Buffalo in the upstate yet. I mean, when I consider New York teams, I mostly consider New York State. I really don't talk about upstate. I don't talk about college teams. Let's see. I think the Rangers could be close. The Yankees are definitely close. The Mets, I think, still have some work to do. Man, I don't think it's going to be the Nets. I don't think it's going to be the Knicks.
It's not going to be the Giants, bro?
I feel like the Yankees and the Rangers are a little bit ahead of them.
Okay, that makes sense. The Yankees probably are ahead of them.
Yeah. It's just the fact of overachieving and underachieving that really has me concerned with this team.
Except the Yankees,
as a franchise for right now.
The Yankees division the Yankees division is more competitive, though. The Giants, the NFC East is bad, so all you got to do is get in the dance.
Yeah. There's possibility if you want to go that far that there's a wild card spot because the NFC is nothing. Like, the Saints, they got Jameis Winston, and it's not very competitive. Giants, Mets, Nets, Devils, Rutgers football here. So all of two Ets, of course, not the Jets, which is a very good decision on you, Jeffrey, and Rutgers football. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so that's like outside of my New York fandom.
How are you a Notre Dame fan?
I would say it was by influence. My friend got me into college football a little bit, and his favorite team was Notre Dame. And for some reason, my sister likes Notre Dame. So I'm like, you know what? Let me become a Notre Dame fan. I have actually a Notre Dame jersey upstairs in my closet. It's a Cole Kmet jersey. He's currently one of the tight ends for the Bears. My brother has an Eaton Book jersey, so that's also interesting. He says the Rangers, they are closest to a title. I think the Knicks should trade Julius Randle. If they have a partner, I would definitely be down for it. I mean, I'm sick of him. Live in the middle of Philadelphia and North Jersey. So that makes a lot of sense then. You're meshed. I was talking about that before. Tony asked a question while you were gone, and here it's an interesting one. You may have been here. Which team do you think will be the last to win a World Series? Here are the teams.
So, do we find out the teams that haven't won?
Yep. San Diego Padres, Colorado Rockies, Texas Rangers, Tampa Bay Rays, Milwaukee Brewers, and the Seattle Mariners. If we're going to talk about teams that aren't doing good, the Mariners, he might be onto something with the Mariners being last because the Rangers aren't good. I mean, the Rockies aren't good, but the Rockies are actually better than the Rangers and the Mariners this year, which is weird. The Padres are in second place, and the Rays are second place. So the Padres and the Rays might actually be the closest.
Something screams Colorado to me. I don't know. I don't see Colorado ever going on a deep playoff run, to be honest with you. It's Seattle and Colorado probably for me.
Good point there. Let's see what else is going on. I don't think the Rays will be winning anytime soon. 3 goals in the game. Did the New York Mets went to the World Series. They didn't win, though. That was against the Kansas City Royals. I remember I was rooting really hard for the Royals because, it's funny. At the time, my neighbor who lived across the street, I don't know if he still does it, but he's like a cameraman or at least, in that department for the Yes Network, but he's a Royals fan. I think he had family in Kansas City. So, he was one of the main reasons that I rooted for the Royals in that World Series. I think the Rangers could, but I picked the Yankees, though. They could win this year. If they keep going with the success and, defeat this adversity, I definitely agree with you there. Texas is like the Bills. The Rangers have lost 4 World Series in a row, I think. 2011, I don't remember any other 2011. Yeah, I don't remember any other World Series they've been in. Because I remember he's talking about obviously the Buffalo Bills. They had 4 uh, straight Super Bowls and they lost all of them, which I don't know how that's possible.
That sucks, man.
Yeah, if the Buffalo Bills are doing good, but they just haven't been there yet. They need that it factor, I guess, somehow, some way. Because they have enough talent. Yankees could be more consistent behind the hitting of Judge, LeMahieu, Stanton, and Rizzo. Yeah. Um, Obviously, LeMahieu's injured and Stanton's on the IL, so we'll see.
Yes, if you have them together healthy, they've shown you a little bit what they can do together. It's a game of failures. You want your pieces to line up eventually at the end of the year. Hopefully for the Yankees fans that all that happens, but it's tough, man. Everybody's got to stay healthy.
Bruin says, I say the Rangers are closest to winning a championship. I honestly might actually pick the Rangers.
Yeah.
Like, they're young. Like, from what I hear from, like, fans that are, like, more knowingly into hockey than I am, that, like, they are a young team. So it was not very too much expected that they would go this deep in the playoffs. But if they're, I would say, overachieving, maybe they get there faster than the Yankees. Giants are still rebuilding. You're not giving any love to the New York soccer team. I honestly, I'm not necessarily a soccer fan, and I never, to be honest, I never really got into soccer. I mean, you could Blue City, you could really give me some knowledge on where the Red Bulls are, and I know New York City FC also is a team in New York.
I'm
Just be
actually
better, but
going
the division is.
I'm actually going to one of my first semi-pro soccer games next year. Some of the people I work with are actually really into soccer. One of my managers has over 300 professional soccer jerseys, some game worn, some of this stuff. I'm like, and I'll send you a picture, Alex. It's unbelievable the amount of jerseys that he has. But yeah, I'm going to see a professional soccer game next month, I think.
Over 300. That's fucking crazy. Jets will be better, but the division is brutal. I mean, yeah, they could be a second place team this year. The Bills are still going to be the Bills. Miami is really hard to make out. We did our predictions on Monday. I think we have them going 7-10. And then the Patriots. I mean, when you have Joe Judge as the quarterbacks coach and Matt Patricia as the offensive line coach, I think Bills losing it a little bit. Stayed with all these local teams. Who would you consider your number 2? Who would you guys consider your number 1 team to root for first in all sports? I'd honestly have to say the Yankees. As much as I hold them accountable, they've been my number 1 team from day one. Like, I started gaining more. Like, I'm gonna go through my chronological history of all my sports and stuff, and I'll let you go, Sox. I wasn't necessarily a fan of base, and it's weird how I get into sports because I usually hate like this. It's weird. But I didn't like. I knew of the Yankees, and everyone kept busting my chops. In 2009, because obviously they won the World Series, and I was like 6 years old, but I didn't watch baseball. I knew they won the World Series though, and I had a big poster. Posada was on that poster. Jeter, A-Rod, Cano, and Teixeira were on that poster. Teixeira being my favorite player of all time. But I started getting into it around 3rd grade because I actually started playing it at recess and stuff like that. My brother started getting into it. So I started following it from there. Then I hated football. I went through a phase where I really hated football. And I've told this story about 1,000 times. I'll tell it 1,001 times, where my best friend would be talking about the Steelers, and my brother would be talking about the Jets. In the middle of football season, I would say, how about them Yanks? Because I had nothing to bring to the conversation. But right around 7th grade, I slowly started getting into football. Like, I remember fucking watching the game where Josh Brown missed the kick against the Jets. And, of course, I had Jet fans in the house, so everybody was bragging to me. Then, what was I going to say? The 8th grade was like probably one of the more full years I started getting into it. Basketball was really right when I moved back to New York in 2018. Then the Rangers probably this past year. So the only thing I haven't gotten into is soccer. But I would always, to be honest with you, put the Yankees first.
So what's your list starting with the Yankees?
Honestly, how I would rank them is how I got influenced.
Okay.
Yankees, Giants, Knicks, Rangers. Though for some
Okay.
reason there's like a part of me that would rather root for the Rangers than the Knicks. Like I don't know why.
Wow. Okay.
But I'm not gonna I'm not gonna make too many comments or anything like that. Tigers or Rays, Padres, Brewers are closer. In terms of furthest to wow, so okay, so you would consider the Tigers are wow, so you would say that the Brewers and Padres are closer than the Rays. That's an interesting take. There was a gut punch World Series loss as bad as the NL Championship Game 7 in 06. Yeah. Early 200s, I think. We've been going through a lot of comments, so sometimes I lose track of context. I got a good one. What was the sports losses you guys have? Worst sports losses you have guys watch as fans? Can be any and every sport. I never actually got to ask you, so you could answer a double question, like going back to I think it was Jeffrey's comment. How would you root your teams? And also, like, what was the worst or some of the worst sports losses you've ever seen?
Okay, well, ranking my teams while I think about the other question, I have to go with, and as much as I love the Boston Red Sox, man, like I dedicate the channel to it. I probably dedicate most of my time to the Red Sox, but I got to go with the New York Football Giants. It just Eli Manning in those 2 Super Bowls with me as a kid, them winning in Arizona, just it brings chills to my bones just thinking about it. I'll probably go with the Giants first, and then probably go with the Red Sox and Celtics close second and third there, and then the rest of it's probably Arizona sports. I like the Browns because my dad lives in Ohio, but those 3 teams really big. And then as far as some of the biggest sports losses, wow, have you thought about any that you can think of right off the bat?
2019 ALCS Game 6.
Is that when? Don't tell me. Is that Altuve's home run? Altuve's home run.
I sat in silence for 2 minutes after that happened. I was screaming. I was quietly screaming because the rest of my house was asleep when LeMahieu hit that homer. And then I remember my friend was on. We were on PlayStation together at the time, and then Altuve hits that home run. We're sitting there for 2 minutes.
Oh, that is really tough. I can think of one that comes to my mind is I think Game 6 of the 2010 NBA Finals. Ron Artest at the time possibly hitting a big time 3 to pretty much give the Lakers the championship against the Celtics. Just absolutely crushed my heart. I'm pretty sure I cried at the restaurant we were at.
That 63-yard Graham Gano field goal 2018 against the Panthers.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that hit me harder than the 61-yard field goal.
From Elliott?
Because I was into football at the time, but I was at my dad's house, and he didn't have cable. He has Roku. And I couldn't watch the game, so I was watching it off a laptop. I'm like, how did this guy make 61 yards? But then a year later, when we were watching Graham Gano, I remember I was watching at my grandparents' kitchen. I'm thinking to myself, he's not going to make this. It's 63 yards. I'm like, then he kicks it. I'm like, no. So that has to be my most painful Giants loss. Pretty painful over the radio, not going to lie, was when they lost to the Colts that same year because they had a pretty significant lead and the defense was trash in the second half of the season. They were, and also is like, I guess I wouldn't say that as more impacting than the Gano one, but like those 2 losses at the end of the 2018 season, they just pissed me off because the defense was so bad. And we had a lead against the Cowboys at home.
I remember that.
I'm like, okay, we can win this. Nope.
No, yeah, the defense, I mean, multiple games. Like I don't even know what my worst Giants loss is, man. There's just been so many times I'm sitting there like, just imagine if I was a fan of another fucking team, man. Like win some games.
Yeah. Jeffrey says Mets probably going back to something along the championship line could when DeGrom and Scherzer get back, and also McGill. The pitching staff is lethal, and they have good hitters. Yeah, I mean, I applaud the Mets. I got to get myself to a Mets game at some point. And maybe I'll go within the next few weeks. I've passed Citi Field once, and I've been in like full depth Queens without JFK once. That was like a few weeks ago. But Citi Field looks bigger than it probably actually is from the outside. Rangers lost the World Series. I forgot when they lost to the Giants. It was 2 straight years. I don't know. I don't know why I forgot that. Good night, Bruin.
Bruin, thanks for being here.
Thanks for staying. The Jets team could be pretty explosive on offense. Yeah, I mean, as much as I like to stab the Jets because my brother's a Jets fan, I mean, they have a good team this year. They have a good team. Like people are expecting 7 wins. You should expect more with that team.
They're gonna stink.
Yeah, and I was busting my brother's chops this morning, and I have to pull it up if people didn't see. And I brag about this, but also I haven't talked to Sox in 2 weeks. A few days ago, actually last Saturday, I met Elijah Moore, the Jets wide receiver, and ever since then I've been busting my brother's chops, saying. And I'm like jinxing, but not for the sake of Elijah Moore, but for the sake of fuck the Jets. Elijah Moore's going to and I keep jinxing it. Elijah Moore's going to have over 1,000 yards with 17 games played, and he's going to have a Pro Bowl, and the Jets going to go to the playoffs. Every time he tells me to shut up. The Jersey Devils almost won the Stanley Cup in 2012, but they came up short. Jeffrey says the Giants are first, Nets are second, Mets are third, but all are very close. I never factored Notre Dame into mine. It's interesting. But they're in there somewhere. Yeah, Blue City, that was brutal. How the hell the Jets fans have to brag about the last 50? There is nothing to brag about.
Nothing, absolutely nothing. Also, you would have put Notre Dame if they actually were on the list. You would have put them on there.
It's so tough for me because like sometimes I'm not home in time to watch the games. Like I'll be at a friend's house or whatever, and sometimes I will actually watch the games. And where would I put him? I'd probably say a close 4, and then the Rangers 5.
That's fair.
They still talk about Joe Namath. Yeah, Joe Namath. I was having an argument with my brother the other day because we were talking about every time like I don't. It's probably the same with you because I know you said you're just lit up with Eli Manning and he's one of your favorite players and stuff like that.
He's my favorite athlete of all time.
What?
He's my favorite athlete of all time.
So you probably have the same opinion with me on this one. But we were talking the other day. I said, Eli Manning, every time, he's in a little Giants video or he's in a commercial, he always lights me up somehow because he's a kindred spirit. He lights up the room. My brother was talking shit because I think the best Super Bowl commercial, all bias intended, is that Eli Super Bowl commercial with Jerome Bettis and Terry Bradshaw and Victor Cruz. Yes. And my brother's like, no, it's the Sopranos one, which was good. But of course, I'm going to put my Giants first. And, I'm like, you're talking trash on Eli Manning in his commercial. Your fucking quarterback does Medicare commercials.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. He looks rough selling those. Like, it looks like he's in the 1990s in a commercial.
Yeah. I'm a Giants fan first, Yankees close second, a little neutral on basketball. I'm more of a fan of the game because that's what I played growing up. I like the Lakers and Nets, though, than UNC Rangers. It's an interesting combo. I know that a lot, some people are just like neutral among leagues because that's the way they feel about their different sports, not necessarily picking a team. Jeffrey, don't forget the Yankees Mets World Series back in 2000, 2019 Stanley Cup Finals. Probably, he's probably mentioning something about a loss or whatever. Devils are 5th, not really much into hockey as much. Scarlet Knights 4th. So that's obviously Rutgers. Yeah, I would like to forget that Blue City. That was as bad as it get. The Nets, Mets, and Giants lost 2000. Oh my God.
Oh,
I'm very concerned. If I was friends with Jeffrey in that year, I would be majorly concerned about
someone
his
check on
mental
Jeffrey
state.
right away.
Let's see. So, what was I going to say? If I'm sticking according to plan here, obviously the Giants. It's a 2000 season, but it happens in 2001, so that'd probably be the last. Then probably the Nets. Let's see the championship. So that's probably going to be in. That's what 2000. So June, or that's either afterwards. I don't know. Maybe I'm going out of chronology, but the Mets would probably be the ones that are losing first. Uh, I didn't get to watch this, but it still
Oh,
pains me seeing the memes and shit. Like I wasn't a football fan at the time, but I
I
see
watched
memes
that
of
game
it.
live.
And it's weird enough that I talk about overseeing things and stuff. Because I put up a poll on Twitter. What's more consistently and annoyingly over memed? The butt fumble or the Giants quarterback sneak at their own 4-yard line?
The butt fumble. I have no idea, and I don't even like the Jets, man. I don't give a fuck about the Jets, to be honest with you. But who cares if he runs into his own guy and falls on his back? Like I never understood why that's such a funny make fun of him play. Like I don't get it. You know that shit happens all the fucking time. Second of all, the Giants sneaking it 2 times in a row almost made me not watch the rest of the games for the rest of the year. Was that the last game of the year?
That
Or is
was the
that the
last game of the year.
I wanted to absolutely turn that game off instantly. I was so pissed off, man. That is such weak shit.
I was at work and in a house of worship at the time, so I couldn't curse. But I'm
Oh,
like, what the hell's going on? What is this? I mean,
makes me sick.
the worst loss I've ever seen is the Yankees collapse against the Sox, up 3 games to none, and they lost it all individually. Uh, Sox is championing in the background. As I was 1 years old at the time, so no, I wasn't watching that. But individually, Game 7, 2001 D-backs over Yankees. And it's weird, though, because like the way the Rangers have been playing, at least this series, I can't say for the last because they actually lost the game at home. The 2001 World Series is kind of like the series they're playing now. Diamondbacks win in Arizona. The Yankees win in New York. The Rangers win in New York. The Hurricanes win in Carolina. That game still haunts me. 2019 ALCS was painful too. Yeah, most painful loss I've ever watched to the Yankees was indeed that one. And I remember
Wow.
one of the more painful losses regular season wise that I've seen. Probably last year. Now I don't know if you can recall this. I don't know if the chat can recall this either. It was an 8-4 game, rain delay against the Angels. Aroldis Chapman gives up a fucking grand slam to Jared Walsh.
I remember that now. Jared
My
Walsh
friend
always
was
seems to hit those perfectly timed home runs too. Chapman is a choke job, man. From what I've seen, the dude throws fast, but Jesus Christ, how many big time home runs has this guy given up in his career?
And then my friend was screaming at me on PlayStation. Well, he wasn't screaming at me, but he was screaming on PlayStation. No, you had one job.
He did too. I mean, all you got to do is keep that ball in the yard. That's all you got to do.
Also, Game 7 against the Cardinals in the 2006. Yep.
Is that
Were the
freeze? Is
Mets?
that the freeze game?
No, it was 06. I don't think Freeze was playing at the time. So he was talking about NLCS game 7, 2006. Or game 5 lost by the Nets against the Bulls in 2012. Giants had some of the worst crushing losses ever. You are lucky you didn't see that 2010 game against Philly in the Meadowlands. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, you don't know how to punt out of bounds. I mean, they literally cut him after that season.
Not only that, but
Patrick,
Deshaun Jackson fumbled the ball to not make
he
a tackle
fumbled the
on.
ball, then he picks it up, and then everybody just, Patrick Ewing finger roll game in the 95 playoffs. Worst Knicks loss ever. Best comeback I've ever seen. Oh yeah, when your own Texans. Oh wait, no, that was against Washington. I was thinking of when they blew it in the playoffs. But the best comeback I ever seen was when the Texans were down 24-3 in the third quarter against Washington. David Carr led them to win in overtime 27-24. I mean, now that we're talking about devastating playoff losses, Tony probably has that with the Texans in 2019. What was it? Like 21-24 to nothing. And then
that was the Texans. I forgot. That's to not close out a game right there. Come on, guys. Let's go.
That game broke me as a fan of that 2002 against the 49ers when they had that game and blew it. Yep, and then the controversial call at the end, a pass interference and illegal man downfield.
What do we got to do to get these fucking bots out of here? Seriously.
Still here again?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand. What was I going to say? I got to go up all the way again. Patrick Ewing finger roll the 95 playoffs, worst Knicks loss ever. Jets 7 wins. So, yeah, you're pretty much on the board with my brother's expectations. I was quite upset when Ingram dropped the ball. We could have won the game. Yeah, I mean, the last 2 years with these fucking drops have hurt me in those two specific games. And against rivals, no less, on Thursday Night Football.
Evan Ingram catches that ball, the Giants are in the playoffs. We don't even have to wait for that last game of the season.
No, not at all. And then who knows the start we would have gotten off to if Slayton catches that ball.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you could argue, oh, maybe it's overthrown, but you could literally lay out for it.
Yeah, I know.
That was so painful. Yeah, that was brutal too, Nimmer. Where's the moderators? I'm gonna make some of you moderators now that I think about it. At least the Giants won 2 titles. Mets and Nets just give me pain and anger. What was I going to say? I went up to a comment. Tony says, "Don't remind me, Alex." Let's see. So I'm going to nominate some new moderators in chat. Let's see. No, Jeff, you're one. Let's see. Add moderator. We're going to make one more, and then we're going to go back to it. All right. So now get to all the comments. That play did define Mark Sanchez's career, and it's weird though because like a couple of days ago he was at the Yankee game with Nick Mangold, and now the Jets are acting like he's in the class. And I'm not saying to make it controversial or anything. Like it's Mark Sanchez. Like the New York Giants every time. Let's just say I don't know. I'm trying to think of a player that's like. That was good early, maybe. Like, Mark Sanchez isn't that good. Why are you making him out to be like this Jets icon? Jets fans don't think about that. They think about the butt fumble and all the shit that came after it.
Mark Sanchez is worse than Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah, Dan Orlovsky was pretty bad, too. 2021 is a year not to talk about in Giants football history. I mean, if the Red Sox were going to break that curse, it would have to be the way they did it at the expense of the Yankees in 2004.
Oh, yeah, baby. Go Sox.
I started to cry when the Raptors beat the 76ers in Game 7. Here's this question. Aroldis Chapman or Edwin Diaz?
I'll take Chapman.
I'll take Chapman. And
I'll take Chapman.
That's like by a sliver. That is so much by a sliver.
That's just because he throws hard.
Yeah, he throws hard, and I guess he has more consistent starts. Maybe. Don't remind me, Alex. Yep, I added some mods. Yeah, even if you have mods, I mean, for some reason this robot shit and YouTube lets them come in. Last year against the Commanders in Week 2, as bad as it gets. Yep, Lawrence offsides when he really wasn't offsides, but it is what it is.
Man, I feel like that was a big turning point in the season too. Like I don't know. I feel like the Giants could win that game and they start to get warm, but that just devastating. And then from then on, it was just a joke.
I mean, yeah, they could have. You think about it, they could have easily been 3-1.
Yeah. Oh yeah, easily, man. We should have
won that game, and then they they go out the next week, beat the Falcons, which they should have never lost to them.
On Eli Manning's jersey retirement. Or is that Strahan's? I'm sorry.
No. That was you're right. That was Eli's.
Okay.
Strahan's I was there for.
All right.
what was I going to say? They could have easily been 3-1 and then lose to the Cowboys in a close game, maybe lose the Rams, winning against the Panthers. What was I going to say? Then the next week they first the Chiefs. That was winnable. So you think of winnable games, and maybe just like the whole season would have just been so different. Of course, thank you, Jeffrey. Now that the links, if you post a link, it actually works if you're a mod. Don't sleep on Darius Slayton this year. We'll see. I'm not holding any expectations for him. I mean, he is what he is. Definitely not NYG. He could be a solid situational deep threat or wide receiver 5. Giants losing the Jets in 2019 made me call out of work. I think that's bad. I had to live with the Jets fan.
I've never had a loss that got me that bad, but trust me, there's been some times where it just brings you to your knees, man. We give our heart and souls to these teams, and when they don't finish, it hurts sometimes.
Jeffrey says he just subbed to you, so good job.
Thanks,
Jeffrey.
Appreciate that.
Slayton shouldn't play too much. I mean, yeah, they also have Robert Foster, so Slayton also dropped the ball. Yep, made me quite upset. We blew it on Eli Manning's jersey retirement. So interestingly enough, I'm going to see how I think about this. I'll also go over this on Monday. This is upon Tony's request. Hold on, I got to pull it out now. All right. So according to this NFL dude, he predicts the Giants winning a total of 8 games, which isn't bad.
Okay.
It isn't bad at all. Let me share my screen.
I mean, that's by far more than I thought. I mean, shit, after what we saw the clown show last year
that's not even my thing. Hold on.
With our goddamn head coach coming out after some of the worst football we've ever seen saying, "Oh, I liked what we saw today." What the fuck?
All that cookie cutter shit. Like,
God,
he became Aaron
Boone.
Boone.
New York. That's not New York.
He became Aaron Boone all of a sudden. Slayton is DJ. Yeah, he is in my intro. Like, I mean, not this intro that we played at the beginning because that's a Sox. That's the Dead Red podcast intro. But yeah, he's in my new intro. We always say we never watch this team again, but somehow because we invest in this team emotionally. Now I think that Shep, when healthy, yeah, he's become one of DJ's favorite targets. The schedule is why they're going with 8 games, which we will all take. Yeah. As long as they improve the next year or at least do something. Shepard has to stay healthy, of course. I don't see the Patriots winning 10 games. I don't see the Jets being as bad as they are. I don't see the Eagles being last place. I think they're going to be first place, actually. I think Dallas will take a little bit of a fall. I think Washington could be around there. The Bears are the garbage can. Maybe I don't think they're going to win 6 games. I don't think they're going to be that good. Let's see. The Lions, maybe not. Maybe they'll overachieve. I don't know, but I don't have too much trust in the Lions. Vikings should definitely be 6-11.
I don't see the Chargers winning 10 games.
You talking about the Chargers?
I don't see them winning 10 games. I mean, I
believe they will.
You think they will?
Khalil Mack. So
that's a big addition, man. That really is. We'll see what he is. If he's, he wasn't the same the last year, even year and a half or so. Numbers have been bad. I think he was injured. Big injury, right?
Yep.
What did he injure?
He was on the IL or IR. I get those two confused all the time. He was on the IR with a big injury.
Okay, yeah. I mean, they got Bosa on the other end too. We'll see what that offense is going to do. I think they lost a receiver. I forgot who, but that division is tough. I think the Raiders and Broncos are going to be competitive. I think they're sleeping on the Broncos, only winning 8 games. I'm going to say the Chargers are too high.
Mack was still kind of productive. I mean, he had 6 sacks in 7 games.
Wow. Okay. Nice.
So, I believe the Steelers will be last. I think I have them at 6-7 wins. I don't think they're going to be as good as people advertise. Colts winning 10 games. Not really. I think the Titans are going to be better. The Texans could definitely win 6. The Jaguars could definitely win 6. The Bucks, I think, will win more than 10 games. The Saints could win around 8. The Falcons could win around 7. The Panthers might actually be that bad, so I probably agree most with the NFC South. AFC West, there's a lot of competitive teams, but it might actually line up like that. And then the NFC, that's the AFC West. And the NFC West, yeah, Rams will win 11 games. I could see that. The Seahawks will probably be the worst, so I could agree with that. The Cardinals will, I say they win around 9 games. So I think 50-50 on accuracy. It's not all bad there.
It seems a little bit Mickey Mouse. Like it's just, yeah, let's go with who who everybody thinks is going to be the best. I think the Cardinals win more games. Like I think they're going to be better than the Niners this year.
I think they were a one-year team, though. That's my opinion, at least.
They were trying to be. They were all in on winning that year, but they got JJ back. They got AJ Green back. You know, Hopkins serving his suspension, but they got Hollywood Brown. They're all in on winning.
I'm just concerned, like, why is Kyler complaining?
I know he needs to get over it, man. Like he doesn't even realize how good he has it. He won't have a better roster than that for the rest of his career.
Did you guys see a DJ throw to Wan'Dale Robinson? I mean, it's OTAs, but that was a pretty good throw. I mean, the fact that Wan'Dale in OTAs mossed Aaron Robinson. Yeah, he's a good corner. I like Aaron.
I mean, you gotta at least it's better than other teams that are posting bad videos. Like we saw the Dolphins PR guy posting a bad video of Tua's throw. Like that's the one video you are gonna post of Tua. He's on.
I didn't even see that.
Oh my God. Like really, you take how many videos of this guy a day and you're going to post this one that all of everybody's talking about is how he underthrew him.
Golden State just punched their ticket to the NBA Finals tonight, 120-110. So it looks like I know Sox probably would have rather versed the Mavs.
I wanted Dallas to at least win a couple games, you know, make them work because now the Warriors, they're hitting that ice bath. They're going to have a week off. They're going to have a whole week off. And the Celtics still got a lot of business to do. And we're banged up a little bit. Smart with the ankle. Jason Tatum with the shoulder. But they'll be all right. And Robert Williams with his knee. Jesus. I mean, he's our MVP, to be honest.
Guys, Joe Judge said I got to watch the tape after every game. Yeah, down the stretch he did. Hope they run the ball more, be more successful on short passes and screens, because when Jones goes deep, I'm telling you, he's looking for Slayton first if he's on the field. He's got to look for other guys, too. Jones and Robinson are developing a nice connection. Keep in mind his OTAs, but the same to see, same with Jones and Bellinger. Yep, the new tight end. They need to give him a different number. 45 just doesn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see DJ? Yep, saw that. Nimmer also subbed to you, so let's get this. Nimmer. Where are you at subscriber count-wise?
I think we're getting close to what?
We got over 700.
Oh, we're over 700. Okay, nice.
Yeah, at least I think that was the number we got over that one stream.
Yeah, and we got you over. What was the big number?
I think it was 400.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you're at 717.
Okay,
right now, and I think I'm at like 433.
I remember when I found you were at like 109 or something like that. It was a while back, man.
Probably wasn't even that.
Really?
Like
yeah.
December of 2020.
Okay, you're probably right.
It better be Tony Galladay and YG22. No Slayton are in trouble. I want to see Arizona. I don't see Arizona that good. Too many injuries and suspensions. Jones needs to develop a good connection with Galladay, and Tony wouldn't be shocked if Bellinger and Robinson have bigger roles than many expect this year. I agree. I agree with Shep for 2 games. Then it's Slayton. The schedule's why they're going with 8 games. Yep, which we will take. Dallas Mavericks have 1 more playoff games than the Dallas Cowboys.
Games I mean, it's kind of hard because they play series and it's different.
Yeah. You know, that's a good point. Also, Jeffrey, I think, I mean, sometimes mods don't show up on StreamYard, but if you want to put your link in there, Jeffrey also has a channel with content. So if you want to put your link, let everybody sub to you, I'll let you do that. I've been waiting for Sox to get 1,000. He's got to put more content out, LOL.
Yeah, man. It's tough, you know. I mean, I wish I could be on here more talking with you guys, but feels like I'm at work all the time, and hopefully eventually one day we'll be able to come on here all the time. If I had it my way, I'd be calling every single fucking game on under the sun, you know. But unfortunately we got house and the dogs and life to take care of.
Let me ask you this, Sox. Going back to a little bit of baseball, and this comment brings up good attention. Do you guys play in Baltimore, or are you guys versing Baltimore when they're coming up?
The upcoming one is, I think it's at home. I think it's a home one.
Okay, because
but we always get rained out when we
I
go
hate
there.
that stupid wall.
Which one?
I'll show you. What the hell? Camden Yards.
The one in right field? The big warehouse?
One in left field. They made an addition this offseason to put up, like, the wall looks so it's pushed out.
Oh, yes, I agree with you. It looks like they cut the stands in half, like with a cake, with a knife.
The cake cutter.
Yeah. No,
So,
I don't know why they did that. Red Sox have 11 runs, by the way. Top of the 8th inning, Red Sox up 11-5.
Tony, how do you feel about the Orioles wall? You're an Orioles fan. I hate that.
Oh, I see.
Judge should have had 3 home runs that night, but he didn't. One of my favorite quotes from Aaron Boone. And you know how I feel about Aaron Boone. Like sometimes I'll be grateful for him, and sometimes I'll just be like, what the fuck with this guy? But he came out and said, Judge could have had 3 home runs, but build the ballpark got in the way.
Dude, come on, man. Coming from the Yankees, I mean, having a little league park in New York, hitting 314-foot home runs. Get over it, Jesus Christ.
I thought that was funny.
I mean, come on. I mean, how far did they?
And Sox, you're telling, and you know what? I like this point that someone else brought up. You're telling me the other team doesn't have the opportunity for the short porch?
No, that is a very fair point. But when you say it's the Bronx Bombers, like no shit, you play half your games at home, you're gonna hit little league home runs all season. No wonder.
Tony thinks that wall is ridiculous. It is. It is. Like Fenway Park's one thing. It's historic. It's been there. But when you just it looks weird.
I'll say I think the Green Monster is too close. Like at least it's up there, so you have to hit it over the wall. It's not like a fucking 8-foot wall that's 314 feet away.
And it's been players have known and have adjusted to hitting over it for the past 100 years.
100%.
Jeffrey says, yeah, that short porch is a little odd in Yankee Stadium. Yep, and for some reason, it's the biggest topic right now. Like, it's the biggest topic in 2022. Wasn't in, like, 2009, 2010. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I was in baseball that time. But maybe
trust me, I don't even back in the day, I was thinking, like, wow, what the hell? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but old Yankee Stadium had the short porch too, right?
I don't think it was as evident as is now.
Okay. No, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think the coolest thing about baseball is that each park is different. But, I mean, it sucks to see Stanton poke a single out the right field that jumps over the fence.
Remember when the Mets had to move the fences back at Citi Field because no one could hit a home run there? I don't remember the year, but I feel like I remember the situation. But I specifically don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
With that being said, though, we are 2 months away from this, and I'll talk about something that's also 2 months away-ish. Who would you nominate, and Jeffrey and anyone else who has teams? Yes, it's the stretching mode. Anyone else who has teams like Tony, and everyone else is also free to answer. This is not just for Sox. Who on your team should be an all-star this year?
That's a good point. Obviously, Story's going to be there this year, not only because, oh my God, the White Sox pitcher just threw it into right field with the bases loaded. Everybody's running around the bases. Arroyo scores. Dahlbeck scores. Red Sox are up 15-5. Again, another 15-run game from the Boston Red Sox. Story's going to be an all-star for sure. Not only because of the big name, but what he's done in the last almost 2 weeks now. But also, I think a couple guys out of the bullpen should make it. Like, except the All-Star game is so like almost. I want to say a excuse me while I see all these runs being scored. It's
Oh,
hard to
good.
keep track. I like Schreiber out of the bullpen for us. He's not going to make the All-Star game, but Barnes has done a good job.
What about Whitlock?
I like Whitlock. And trust me, they put him as a starter. He's done really well. He's given up. I think he gave up 5 runs in his last outing. He's not going to make the All-Star game. I don't know if anybody's actually going to. They've done a way better job than I think than I thought they were going to. But I think Kike Hernandez and Trevor Story are probably for us.
Okay, so I'm gonna look. Tony says Austin Hayes. Hayes is hitting 283 with 4 runs and 20 RBIs and 152 ABs. Jeffrey says for the Mets, it should be Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Taijuan Walker, Starling Marte, Francisco Lindor. I forgot to answer this question. I'll get to it in just a second. Tony says that Austin Hayes has been a huge bright spot for the Baltimore Orioles. And then he says for the Yankees, Jeffrey means Cortez, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, King. For me, for the Yankees, it should be Judge, Cortez. I don't think Stanton's going to make it. Realistically, he's played on an awesome level. I just don't think he's going to make it. Here's my thing. Because of defense, and of course the fans that vote are probably not going to take this into account, so he's not going to make it. I think Jose Trevino, because of his defense, should be an all-star. One of the best framing catchers in baseball. He had a lot of good plays tonight. And then there was this idiot on Twitter. I couldn't believe it, but you still have idiots, just all this shit. He said, this is not an indictment. He was like, somebody said, Gary Sanchez's slugging is higher than Kyle Higashioka's OPS. We're still talking about Gary Sanchez for some reason. Then the guy says, this is a different guy. This is not an indictment of the Yankees trading Sanchez, but it's an indictment failing to replace him. So, and then, of course, he got 3 likes. He got more quote tweets. And I put Jose Trevino isn't totally one of the best framing catchers in the sport, and he didn't walk off the second Orioles game for us. Stop the bullshit. What a statement. What an idiotic fucking statement.
It's like breaking up with an ex-girlfriend that you can't get over. Just get over it.
And someone literally said a few weeks ago, who I follow on Twitter, oh, I miss an offensive catcher. Why? Rest of the lineup's doing their job. Jose Trevino's framing like a fucking all-star. Why are we still continuing this conversation on Gary Sanchez? It doesn't need to be had.
Leave it to Yankees fans at 30-13 to keep bitching and complaining about it. You can't fucking make them.
And it's not even about I have my own worries, but they're justified. Like the bullpen, that's justified. Gary Sanchez, not justified.
But you're not out here tweeting saying, I miss an offensive catcher. The guy kind of stinks anyways. I mean, move on.
I mean, it kind of says something when I cut him for my fantasy team.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough.
What was I going to say? Yeah, back to this question. What was your opinion about the Yankees picking up Matt Carpenter and being on the Yankees roster? He was an interesting pickup. I mean, we were talking about adversity earlier. Carpenter was with he is a World Series champion, I believe. I feel like he was with them in 2000. Yep, he was a World Series champion, 3-time All-Star, but that's all like 5+ years ago. Carpenter looks weird with the mustache, not gonna lie. I know a lot of people are just like, up in arms and, happy about the mustache and really excited. But Carpenter, at least I gotta take a look at his AAA stats. I think he was doing pretty good with Texas. He did the small thing. He's very versatile. He did the small things tonight that got the Yankees runs in. I'm going to take a look at specifically what he did. Matt Carpenter tonight, he went 0 for 2 with a walk. So, not great, not what you totally want, but it's something you expect. Carpenter in AAA this year with Round Rock hit 275 with 6 home runs and 19 RBIs. So, I mean, we'll see. Those are just 2 at-bats, 3 plate appearances. I think Machado is having the best year in all MLB. I got to take a look at his stats.
He's
Is he
hitting
really
like
having that good of a
370.
year?
He's hitting like 370.
I know Tim Anderson, we talked about him earlier. He's also having a pretty good year. San Diego. Maybe they're not playing today. I'm trying to look up his numbers. Let's go Manny Machado.
Yeah, Manny's having the best year by far. Like he's also on the MVP watch for sure.
361, 8 home runs, 27 RBIs. Yeah, he's definitely on that list. So
361, are you kidding me?
Tim Anderson, no, shit ton of guys. And, a lot of people ripped, surprisingly. I mean, now it's coming to, obviously, a stop, but a lot of people ripped on him and ripped on the Padres for signing him a few years ago because he wasn't an all-star. He was an all-star last year, and now he better be an all-star. I mean, if he's not, I would be very surprised.
I mean, I hate him for ending Pedroia's career, but he's playing good baseball for sure.
Yeah, and he's also not a nice guy.
No.
Nimmer says Giants 9-8 wins, I think. Yeah, I mean, the ceiling I put them at is 8 because I don't want to get too high in arms of expectations. Carpenter's 36. He's, I think, Josh Donaldson's age. They've also brought back, and I don't know if you remember him from a few years ago. Maybe there's some of the chat remembers him, but he was like one of my favorite guys, and I thought he was going to be something with the Yankees. But they ended up trading him in a 3-team trade for Gregorius. They brought back Shane Green.
Oh, yeah.
Former starter. I really liked him in a Yankees uniform. Hopefully he gets his chance. I mean, I think he's just going to be a AAA staple for right now. But hopefully he just revives himself because I know he was with the Braves, was the Dodgers, was with Detroit for a few years. So in OKC right now, 0-1, 5.87 ERA. So hopefully he can snap out of it. But he's been one of the players there. I forgot to tell you. I fucking don't have it with me, of course, when I think about it. I went to, as I've mentioned like 600 times throughout this show, I went to Scranton a couple of weeks ago to see the Rail Riders. I'm gonna try to see if I ever took a picture of it. I've been highlighting myself in fame the last few weeks. Of course. Guess who I got an autograph from?
I
never took a picture of it. That's
Is it a minor leaguer?
Yeah. You could say he is.
Volpe.
I did get an autograph from him, but not a few days ago. Well, that was actually last year. I'll give it away since for some reason I never tweeted out a picture of it. Greg Bird.
Okay, very cool. Nice. You got to meet him, say hi and everything?
I didn't speak much. That's sometimes I like freeze in front of like athletes and shit like that. I don't know why. But he to the guys next to us, he was very nice. He's very tall. He's very personable. He said to the guys next to us, he's like, "Oh, you guys, go to school around here." I go look up his height. He's very tall. He is, only if I could get a.
I don't know if you can see.
Measurement.
But I have Eli's autograph right there.
Nice. Why is it not showing me his height and weight? I don't understand that. Stats, game logs. One thing I asked for is height and weight, and I can't even get that. 6'3". Thought he was a little taller, but yeah, he's a nice guy, and he struck out a couple of times the night I was there, but he's overall a nice guy. With that being said, also as well, what are some needs? Do you still think do you think they will do it? And like, because I know it's different for us content creators. We want certain things we won't get. What was I going to say? But do you think the Red Sox will go after? Like, what do you think they need, and what do you think they will get at the trade deadline? How about that?
It's interesting because, like, it's an interesting game content creating is because I gotta say I'm a fan first. Like I represent, the Red Sox first just as a fan. So I don't know. I don't like want to claim to know exactly what they need. I hate when people try to, claim exactly what they need. You don't know. And there's a lot of stuff going on right now with money and all that stuff. There's big league contracts on the line, and guys really want to be up here in the big leagues. So uh I I think the bullpen is going to be an issue. Obviously, the offense isn't going to put up a bunch of runs every single night. Uh, Maybe they will. Who knows? 16 runs the other night, 14 runs tonight. It's not by accident. They're actually hitting the baseball really well. The offense is packed full of talent. I don't think there's any issues there. Um, I think if anything, they're going to go after an arm at the trade deadline, and that's if anything. I think this bullpen might have enough to keep it together, maybe for a playoff run. If not, it's going to take a couple more arms. The division is really competitive, so it's going to be tough. Toronto winning 91 games last year, finishing in fourth place. The Sox are going to it's going to take a lot to be competitive. We're at the point now where we're going to probably need some help from other teams in the division as well. So I think a bullpen arm is going to be big, maybe hopefully a big name. Like, I don't know who's out there, who's available, but maybe a big time closer for once. And instead of just rotating through who's hot and who's not, we tried Diekman early. We're using Barnes now. Whitlock is starting, so we'll see. But yeah, well, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm not trying to get too high and too low on the Sox right now, where they're winning games, and I guess we'll see when we get closer to the deadline.
Jeff says, smash the like button and sub up to Big Blue and SoxArizona, of course. Jets mess. We'll trade you Chapman.
No, thank you.
They have Matt Barnes already. And you guys don't have a signified closer, do you?
No, I mean, I would go with Barnes if someone had a gun to my head and said, who's the fucking Red Sox closer? Tell me now. But he'll choke it away eventually. It'll be somebody else. It'll be Sawamura. It'll be Diekman probably again. I mean, it's going to be tough.
Nimmer says, I also subscribe to you, Alex. Thank you, Nimmer. Jets Mess says, Bird was a stud, looked great in the pre. Yeah, I mean, spring training is when he decides to light up. And then sometimes he just, like in the minor leagues, I believe he's hitting like a 1-something. He's not a Major League Baseball player anymore. Unfortunate that it didn't work out. He's hitting 188. So, that tells you pretty much everything you know. He has 30 strikeouts in 112 at-bats and 4 home runs and 11 RBIs. And, he's got 20 walks. So, he walks a lot with his ratio of strikeouts as well, but it's not a Major League Baseball player. Yeah. How are Paxton and Sale progressing through their rehabs?
They're doing well. They're on schedule. It is ridiculous with Chris Sale that we have to wait this long for a broken rib, but apparently that's what happens when you break your rib. You can't risk them coming back. I'm not too excited. Like, I don't want to get too high on Paxton because who knows what he's going to bring after the injury, after coming from Seattle. But, that'll be huge when they come back. It'll be able to move some guys, get some rest, and it's gonna feel a lot like last year. Sale will get back, and then we're gonna have to really turn on the Jets to have a chance.
Yeah, and I think from here we could start wrapping it up. Sox, if you want to put your final thoughts in.
I mean, yeah, it was a chill podcast today. I appreciate you guys joining the Dead Red podcast. Keeping the comments going is what keeps us going, man. It's awesome to just hang out with you guys in the chat, talk sports. And with all the crazy stuff in the world going on right now, it's nice to just come and hang out with real people and talk sports, turn off our brains for a little bit, zone out into our little world of sports, and let's just be thankful that we have the chance to do it. And I'm serious when I say that. It's a good time, and I appreciate Big Blue for working out with me, finally getting this thing going. Now we're on episode, what is this, 7
or 8?
And we're going to keep going with you guys. So I appreciate it. Hit that like button, subscribe. as always. And we'll see you guys next week for sure.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll be streaming the Yankees Rays game. So some of y'all pop on by. We'll be answering questions of all caliber. We're going to try to get an NBA game. Like, I don't know when the next Heat game is. I think it's probably when is it, Sox? Tomorrow?
The next, it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Okay. So probably won't be able to stream that one. If for some reason, because what game are they on? They're in game what?
The Celtics are up 3-2. So game 6 will be tomorrow. And God, I hope the Miami doesn't win in Boston because we got to go back to Miami for game 7.
If there is a game 7, we will try to stream that on Sunday. Of course, Sox is going to be heavily rooting for the Celtics through both games if both games actually happen. As I said, Rays game tomorrow on this channel, so come back at 7 o'clock around. I'm going to try to put out more videos through the rest of the way because I know I've been doing that of recent. Check those out if you haven't already. Check out Sox's channel. Check out Big Beat Reactions. I know Sox has been posting some content on there. Boys in the Big Apple is, of course, next week at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, that's next Monday. More NFL record predictions, more basketball talk, more baseball talk. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode or next live stream. Depends. Peace out.